for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatterspodcast1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. The return of the Entertainers is a walking football match that takes place at Gateshead Leisure Centre on Saturday the 6th of June 2026 in aid of Age UK North Tyneside. Sponsored by Shout Digital and Darren Baldwin Funerals. Tickets available from our website or from Voucher. There's also an opportunity for you to play in the game, either with or against the legends. Go to our website nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for more details. 29th of January 2027 sees an evening with Beardsley, Cole and Ferdinand at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, hosted by John Gibson. Tickets are on sale now from the box office 0191 243 1171 or tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk or directly from us at our website. Northern Horizon is a Blake 7 convention in aid of Age UK North Tyneside. Tickets available from our website. And Rebel Base Northeast, a Star Wars fan convention, Sunday the 2nd of August at the Copthorne Hotel. Tickets available on our website. The Craze, Fred Dinage, Ronnie, Reggie and Me takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, box office 0191 243 1171 or tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. That takes place Wednesday the 11th of November at 7:30. We've also got some books available on our website. Will Scott's popular Entertainers book, 92 to 97, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, is available now. And The Promoter and the Photographer, 25 years of bringing the stars to Tyneside, all proceeds going to Age UK. All books available, nufcmatters.co.uk.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you lack, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on, just carries on.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum on Monday the 23rd of February and we'll be looking back at the defeat to Manchester City, narrow defeat as it was. Quite a few people missing tonight. Apologies from quite a few people. Ian is going to a funeral. Unfortunately, Darren is going through a bit of a bad time with a relative who is as I mentioned last week, not got long, which is unfortunate. Chloe is at her mother's 50th birthday, so happy birthday to her. And Jeff still isn't well, so get well soon, Jeff. And Barry is still without a computer that he can broadcast on, although he is in the chat, but he just hasn't got a computer he can broadcast on. A few people ask him where Barry has been. And Jules, I will not take Isaac out of the intro because he was a great player for Newcastle United when he was at the club, and he helped us win the Carabao Cup final last year. So I will be leaving him in. The little tribute to everybody in there is to foreign players who did well for the football club. Some people will think that's wrong, but I don't. End of story. Welcome to Tom, who's come in late. There you are, Tom. You're in. Good stuff. Anyway, welcome along to everybody. Barry's asking for the link as well. He says, send us the link. I'll try. I will do, Barry, once we're here. From George. George, good evening. Tell us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on the narrow defeat to Man City. The lads give a good account of themselves, of course.
Well, not a good account of themselves as far as I'm concerned. It was as good as a win. I mean, I reflect on 2 weeks ago when we talked about these, maybe 3 weeks ago, when we talked about all these away matches. And I remember coming off the programme and thinking, what a miserable bunch of sods they are. But as it turned out, we didn't need to be miserable. I just wanted to see the team show that they were proud to wear the shirt, and that's what they've done over the last 2 weeks. You know, we've not really had a bad game. And yesterday, we're back again to a really good game of football. And what are we bemoaning? Officials. Bad decisions. It's just horrendous. It just gets worse and worse. And to rub the salt into the wound over the Dan Burn goal that wasn't a goal, Howard Webb comes out this morning and admits that the referee made a mistake. That once the Manchester City player touched Burn, he couldn't be offside. Now, that's a rule even I didn't think about, but Howard Webb's admitted it. So what a shambles. And then other things, again, Dan Burn, Bernardo Silva jumping into him the way he did, already had a yellow card, yet he didn't get a yellow card. In fact, he should have got a straight red for that. That was appalling. So that's the bad stuff out the way as far as I'm concerned. As far as Newcastle's concerned is they played their hearts out. To hear Pep Guardiola compliment one of our players and say he's an animal. We couldn't play because he kept breaking our midfield down. He's talking about Jacob Ramsey, boys. I mean, he was really outstanding. I mean, I thought at first he was talking about Tonali, but he wasn't. He was talking about Jacob Ramsey. But they all put a shift in, and they had to. Lewis Hall was brilliant again. Right across the back, even Trippier, you know, you're not the fastest nowadays, but still his positional sense is just outstanding. And Dan Burn and Chow are as good a pairing as we've had and anybody else has had. So, you know, there was so much about it that was good. And everybody that was in midfield, again, did a shift and made sure that they didn't overrun win and so on. If I've one gripe, it's a gripe that we've all had this year and probably a bit of last year, and that is we definitely need a first-class goalkeeper. No question about that. But we know that. That's not news. But in terms of how we played, it was just great. We didn't let them overrun us. We didn't let them play through us. We maybe for the first goal we did, but I still think there was other people to blame for that. But we really give them a game, and that's what else can we ask for against a team like Manchester City? And certainly boosts my confidence when we have the FA Cup back here, because if we can play like that again, then we're on our way. I also thought that for the first time that Eddie tweaked things in a way in which Pep found uncomfortable. Now that's an unusual thing to say, because usually Guardiola seems to be ahead of everybody, but it was good to see how we tackled the game, and as I say, everybody give 100%. The net result was we weren't second best. In fact, if things had been normal and the officiating had been normal, we'd have come home with a victory. Which I know it's you can't claim victories over what referees don't do and do, but it's it mentally it felt like a win to me. It didn't feel like even a draw to me. We did enough to win that match, and it was, in my honest opinion, it felt like it was taken away from us. Whenever we're going to get all this officiating right. And the other thing is about the going back to the decisions. It's Stockley Park. They've now had to release the audio because somebody's asked for the audio to be released, and there's only one person in Stockley Park who thinks it's not a goal. That's the person in charge. The other two people think it's a goal, and yet the one that's the boss gets the say. I just find all of that absolutely disgusting. Apart from anything else, they're not just trashing VAR now. Any neutral looking at all of that, listening to all of that, will say, well, football's corrupt, not just Stockley Park. And that's very worrying to anybody that's a real football fan. It's damaging the game. They need to sort it out very quickly, or we get rid of it. It's simple as that for me. And but what a weekend! We've had this old thing. We don't mind a team that loses as long as the team that tries. Well, the last 2 weeks have shown that we've got a team of triers, and a good team of triers, and some outstanding people. Lewis Hall is slowly, not slowly, but surely, very quickly becoming one of the best fullbacks in the Premiership. And I see on other fans' websites how they're all saying, well, he should be our left back next year. I hope they've got a plan for Lewis Hall and for Livramento for when the summer comes, so that we don't have a similar sort of thing that we've had in the past. As I say, so delighted that they all weighed in. So delighted that the fans got a the travelling fans, of which many of our colleagues were there, Denise and Darren and others, got a match that was worthy of watching. But looking again, there's a team that's been the top for 10 years and still acres of empty seats at a match like that. What do they want? What do these people want? If that was us, they'd be queuing all the way down Gallagher, even just to hear it, never mind see it. So it was a brilliant weekend and a game to be proud of as far as Newcastle United fans are concerned. I'll just divert a little bit and say all this racial stuff, whatever the club, I wish the platform owners would find a quick way of finding these people so something can be done about it. It's just not on. It's just not fair. It doesn't matter which club it is. It just is. It has a potential to be ruinous in the game, and it's got to stop. And we whatever we can do to stop it, we should. But a fantastic weekend, and I'm proud to be a Newcastle fan. Always am that, but particularly proud today.
Good stuff, George. Martin, good evening. 2-1 defeat. I think most of us had written it off or called it a free hit. Most people thought we would get beat down there. We did get beat, but we put up a fight. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't as disappointing as we all thought it could be.
No, I think George has hit a lot of things right on the head. I think, look, we're after another weekend and we're talking about referees again, and we will be until it's sorted out, because it's just becoming, there's a point where, we last season, a lot of Newcastle fans are going, it's all about the red cartel, and we're not getting a fair crack, and Liverpool are getting an extra 8-9 minutes, which did, surprisingly enough, they did again the weekend to win. But it's becoming so clear and evident now with some of these decisions that all you can really do is sit back and go, it's nothing other than corruption. You can't even go that it's idiotic anymore, or it's just a really bad mistake. Yeah, it's blatant. And it's I think George makes a really good point. It's bringing the game into disrepute. It's ruining it for fans, in particular the fans that travel up and down. Like I was looking at Instagram there yesterday. I was looking at some of the pictures from Darren. I know he's not on tonight. And listen, I hope he's doing well and things work out for him. But like the amount of air miles and travel that lad and Pablo puts in, those lads deserve to have a game that's run right and is officiated right. And they're going down there and they're spending good money. And to be fair, City fans as well, any home or away fans, you're paying good money, top dollar. Lads are going down and paying hospitality. And the game is being ruined every single weekend. If it's not one game, it's a half a dozen games. But there's nothing being done. Like, it's fine and well Howard Webb coming out and say, oh, well, he made a mistake, lads. Just too late. It's too late. Like, if that had been 3 points we needed or a point to avoid relegation and we got relegated because of that mistake, where does that lie? It's just unforgivable. Match-wise, I think we did really well. If I was going to critique it in any way, I don't really think Waldemar on that left of midfield really kind of worked for us. I think definitely, when we played the cup game and stuff, when we played in Carabach, that more central role just off the striker, I think suits him way better. But look, I get what we had players-wise. I think same when we seen the team, everybody looked at him and went, oh my God, Trippier's going to get roasted. And look, his legs aren't there, so he's up against players who are 20 years younger. He's gonna get ripped, as I'm sure we all would. But I thought for the first time in a lot of seasons, I thought we played really well. And I think what really stood out to me in the second half was, and I think the respect that was shown from Pep and from City was, he changed to a back five.
Yeah.
Because we were overrunning them. And all right, last minute, Donnarumma with an absolute worldie of a save to deny Barnes. But that's the difference in a world-class keeper. We had our first shot. Pope didn't do so well. Is it a mistake from the keeper? I'd say yes. I think he should have done better. But look, we know what we're getting. So I think, again, George is right. I think we need one of the investments we have in the summer needs to be a world-class keeper. Whether we go back in for Trafford or we go in for somebody else, but we need to change that up. But I thought across the park, lads played well. I think at the end of the day, you got to remember we've an atrocious record against City. We've played them, we'll end up playing them 5 or 6 times this season. And I think we need to just remember when you look at what we had on the bench compared to what they can bring off the bench, we're miles away from it and we're miles apart. So, they are, as much as they've got whatever charges against them and everything else, they're one of the best teams in the world. And I think we went toe-to-toe, and in the second half, I think we scared them. And I think, as I said, that was evident with Pep changing to a back five, because you won't see him make that change that often this season, if at all. I don't think I've seen him change to a back five. Rarely. Actually, I can't remember the last time he changed that to a back five. So I thought that was very interesting to see. And I like Pep. He's a good manager. He does give respect where it's due, unlike a lot of other managers. So, yeah, I didn't feel like a defeat. And I think it sets up nicely maybe to rest a few players tomorrow night. I'd like to see the likes of a few of the young lads get a run out with a mix of experience in there to keep them right. But, yeah, look, we go again. I think Everton and Man U are much bigger games for us. I think if we can take 6 points from those, I think, look, you're looking at the table with a handful of games to go. I think realistically, we need to take those 6 points. I think 7th is probably where we're at. I don't really see us. I don't see us unless there's something drastic changes elsewhere in the league, which it could. I don't see us getting up to a Champions League spot. So I think our aim really needs to be as high as we can get. But I think if we could get to 7th, the injuries we've had in the start of the season I think that'd be a pretty good season. So yeah, we roll on again to Everton.
Okay, good stuff. Adam, thoughts on the Man City game, mate?
Like what the lads have just said, it doesn't really feel like a defeat where in the past we came on here on a Monday and been all deflated by it. I think it is a performance we can be proud of. how many teams in the Premier League can go and say they went toe-to-toe with the best team in the country in their own backyard? Make Pep sweat a little bit by changing formation and having to adapt with our energy and the way we were playing. Obviously, a few weeks ago, I was on here and I was ranting and raving about what it takes to wear the shirt. And I think the past few weeks, the lads have hopefully turned that corner. I think that game where it was at Brentford, where Eddie Howe was 30 minutes late coming to the post-match interview after he's obviously rollicked the players, it's obviously done something. And obviously, Trippier was saying they've got their heads together and spoke to each other and had a few home truths said. It's officiating, isn't it? Like, we've seen it at Villa, you see it across loads of games in the Prem. I think for me, it's always been, if you're not one of those big six teams and you're up against it with the referees, they do try and protect the big teams. It was, when I was younger, it was always Man United with Fergie. Like, everything went their way, and now it's the brown envelopes are getting distributed by Man City to the referees. That's the way I think it goes. But I think there's positives to take from it. Like, the lads that went down there who I know, they said, like, it's Man City. If you can go and give them a good game, then you haven't just rolled over, then there is positives to take. And like George was saying, for the FA Cup tie, let's have it. I think we'll do them personally, and it's not often I say that about Man City, but if they can turn up the way they turned up at the Etihad, let's have it, and let's see what they can do. In terms of the goalkeeping situation, I've always, this season anyway, said that we need a different goalkeeper because Nick Pope just doesn't do it for me. And again, that's just personal opinion. There'll be other fans that think that he is the number one, which is what it's all about. But I think the goal he conceded at Carabach was horrific from a goalkeeper's point of view. Like, how the hell is that went in? Has he switched off thinking he was offside, or I don't know? It was very poor goalkeeping, and then I think he should do better for one of Man City's goals. In terms of the transfers, I think you need to look at your goalkeeper. Maybe you need to look at your defence more than anything else, and then your two top men, because, as we said in the past, obviously Voltemora, he is looking better in the number 10 role rather than being the centre forward, like the striker. Sorry, Wissa doesn't do it for me at all. So it's midfield's fine as long as you can retain the majority of the midfield, but just looking at the defensive and the striker situation. But like you were saying there, you've got lads like Pablo and Darren and things like that put the hard miles in, and they want to go and watch a fair, honest game of football as far as the referees are concerned. It doesn't happen. As far as that, it doesn't happen. And I think in all honesty, the whole Tottenham situation, I think referees will do what they can to make decisions go Tottenham's way to try and aid them staying in the Premier League. That's what I think referees will do, because they're one of these self-proclaimed big six. I think that'll be it. But yeah, proud of the lads. I think, like the lads have said already, it's not a defeat where we can be too down about it, and let's move on.
Cheers, Adam. Barry, welcome back. You've got a computer that works. Can you hear us, though?
Hopefully. I've got my fingers and toes crossed that it works long enough for us to say something. Nice to be back, Steve. I missed you guys.
Welcome back, Barry.
I mean,
Barry.
The guys before us have said it all, haven't they? Really, it was nice to see the passion for the last 2 or 3 games. The passion's been back, the effort's been there. The games haven't been great, but you can see the team is going full out to get the points. And I think, yeah, we got beat off Man City. For me, they're still probably the best team in the country. I'm still half expecting City to go past Arsenal. I think Arsenal are wobbling again. I know Tottenham basically waved the white flag and went, "Oh, we're not even going to try second half yesterday." But no, we've got nothing to complain about the game. The lads were up for it. I'm so proud of the way they went for it. And I mean, my biggest thing was watching the Dan Burn challenge. How that knacker didn't get sent off for that after he'd been booked like 2 minutes before, and then he basically, his thigh hits Burn in the chest. It was reminding us a little bit of where Burn got his broken rib against Sunderland. I just thought, God, how far, what sort of decision was that he didn't get at least a booking, which would have had him off the pitch. I agree with the guys. I worry about the thing with the refs, because I don't want to think that the whole thing's corrupt. I don't know whether it's just because they're incompetent now that we've got such a poor quality refereeing that they don't pick up the mistakes that they possibly would have done in the past. I mean, I know I was watching the show with you guys where it was after the which game was it where we didn't have VAR, and the guys and the referee he looked completely lost when he was expected to make decisions and come in and decide on things because he didn't have this little voice in his ear telling them what to say. And it's just we seem to have, I mean, God, in the past, I mean, I don't go as far back as George, bless him, but we used to have some of the best referees in the world. You know, our referees used to be looked at that they were the pinnacle of refereeing across the globe. You know, they used to go out and give coaching sessions to referees in other countries. Now we're basically laughed at because they make so many mistakes and they come across as incompetent. And you just think, is it bribery? Is it clubs getting to them and saying you have to make these decisions for us? I don't know. I hope not, because then it diminishes the whole thing about football. But like the guys have said, that we did really well. I know we're getting beat off City, but pretty much everybody gets beat off City. I think I know I watched the professional show yesterday where the lads were talking about the defence, and obviously the worry with the defence is the number of them that are out of contract at the end of the season. They're either reaching that age where you don't think they're going to do a job. So we're going to have to spend money on the defence. And I know Stu and Mitch said about, is Pope your first worry? Is he the one you're going to replace straight away? Probably not. I totally agree with Adam. I think Wissa, for me, I can't see him. I can't see him making it. I really can't. I think Valdemar, if Eddie gets a decent chance to coach him into a position that he wants him to play, and he manages to change the formation or change the way the team plays to incorporate that given time, I think Valdemar will be a tremendous player. I'm not so sure about Wissa. I know I was probably the worst one on the panel for not wanting him when we signed him, because he was like 7th or 8th choice, but I just don't see it in him. But yeah, I think we'll roll on to the next game. Like the lads have said, Everton and Man U, if we can keep the momentum going, I know we've got big, but we can take both of them. Come on, the lads.
Good stuff, Barry. Tom, a lot of positivity since you were last on. The results have picked up. I mean, obviously it's a defeat we're talking about today, but the results and more importantly, the performances have picked up, Tom.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. As the lads have said, it was a good match. It was a good match for the neutral. It was a good match for Tyne fans. I think the second half, all you heard were Tyne fans in that stadium. I didn't hear anybody from City. I heard our lads singing proudly, singing loudly, and I think the team benefited from that. Let's face it, the first 30 minutes, we weren't looking our best. They had a lot of the ball, most of the ball. The formation that we had was, again, Eddie being a little bold. Maybe the Carabach confidence of the team that played there brought it to this match. Some people said Valdemar in the middle with more space to work seems to work. Gordon's speed, the speed up front, I think caused them some problems. But it also, I think, hurt us a little bit in defense. We were playing man-to-man. On that second goal, I was so mad. Kevin and I were in a chat, and I was so mad as Elanga's playing man-to-man. He leaves his man to go outside. Trips was slow coming over. I don't put that on Pope. Could he have saved it? Maybe. But that was a defensive breakdown because it is a new brave formation, and we just weren't used to playing that. But the second half looked really, really good. The goal that was called off for Byrne, do you remember? I think it's 2022. We were playing Palace, and Joe Willock was pushed into the goalie, and they took that goal away from us. Do you remember that? That was more egregious than this one, but it's still, at that time, I remember the PGOL saying that it shouldn't have happened. It was at fault, right? So they said that was a bad call, and then here it is 3-4 years later, and the same thing is happening. Bernardo Silva running he wasn't looking at the ball. He wasn't doing anything except trying to hurt Dan Byrne, and particularly at a vulnerable spot in his rib. That was just, is still being repaired, as far as the rib breakage. How that first the referee not calling that, it was intentional. He's only 10 yards away. But to have VAR not even look at that is criminal in my offense. I mean, Dan Burn could have been out the rest of the season if he would hit the rib just right, because that's what was the intent was. So I think that in spite of a couple defensive lapses, in spite of poor refereeing, and I really do blame VAR even more than the ref, because how you could not look at that replay and make a decision, I thought was horrible. The push on Byrne and to take that goal away. I mean, think about this. If Byrne committed a foul and then scored the goal, they would punish Byrne, right? Byrne gets fouled, gets the goal, and they punish Byrne. It doesn't make any sense. You can't punish the offensive player in both cases. It just doesn't work. So I was pretty frustrated. But as the game grew, like everybody else, the team grew. The Tyne fans grew into the game, and it was an exciting match. It was a good match. We missed that clinical touch up front. As someone said, Barnes' goal against any other goal, he probably goes into the back of the net, and we go with probably a deserved point. So disappointing, but excited, because I think after the Manchester United game, we're playing one match a week the rest of the year. I mean, and I think 7 of the last 8 games, we could get 3 points. So I think we're going to end up strong. That's what excites me. We're playing for the manager. We're playing for the fans. Yeah. We're playing for the badge. And then with one match per week, this team can play with anybody in the world. So I'm pretty excited. So disappointing not to get a point. I think we should have and deserved a point. But it's really looking up from here.
Good stuff, Tom. Kev, thoughts on the defeat to Man City?
I'll just put it this way. 2 defensive errors cost us 2 goals from a very, very good footballer and Nico O'Reilly. Apart from that, I thought we outplayed them in certain areas. We got about them. We made it difficult. In the shape that he plays now, with certain different pieces and parts, works. If we had a full strength team out, i.e. Bruno, i.e. Joe Linton fully fit, i.e. Tonali on firing on all cylinders, which he's pretty much getting to that point. You know, Barnes on the Gordon on the left, whatever shape he wants to play, I think we would have probably beat them, to be honest, and then we probably should have done, based on the chances that we had in the game. The one for me that sticks out outside of the controversial one with Dan Burn when the ball wasn't in play, when he got pushed offside, and all the above of the terrible decisions that the lads have already discussed, and I'm not going to go beat the dead horse, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to go over that. But the one that, for me, if you've got a clinical striker up there, is the one when the ball was played over the top for Anthony Gordon, and he just went in beyond. And even my, how old is he? 11-year-old son said, hit it. And he took that touch with his right foot and just delayed everything. And he should have smashed it with his left foot across. If it went high and wide, not a problem. But it was the mentality of not having a shot at goal. It was then he had to take a touch, cut back, and then every Man City just recover. So it's just, yes, Gordon's not a natural striker. Yes, we understand that. We all appreciate whatever. But again, it's those moments in games that change them. Because what was it? What? I guess it was 1-1, maybe, whatever. At that time, it was close. We were still very much in the game. We were still much in the game at 2-1. But in them small moments, like Man City do, and they've done it very well for years, take the opportunity. I mean, the lad O'Reilly his first one, he towed it. He didn't properly connect with it. And he towed the ball, but it went in. He took the opportunity. The second one, again, just poor marking. You know, everybody got shifted over, big, massive gap. I mean, George could have scored that one. I mean, you know, he had that much space. He could have done. No, I'm just giving kudos to George because he probably rose like a salmon. But at the end of the day, we went toe to toe with them and give them a good fight. We'll give them a good game. And I agree with Tom for a neutral. Not that I'm a neutral, but it was a good game to watch. It was a good game to see and a good fight. But what ultimately, at the end of the day, what Man City have and the Liverpools and the Arsenals of the world have is the quality of player. And we don't have the quality of player to finish them. Because if we got a second one, just say we did, hypothetically, then we probably would have went on and won that game. Because I think they, obviously, with their change of shape, they changed the way they played. They were, I don't know, not worried, wouldn't suspect, but my bigger in terms of their players was Marmoush with his pace against Dan Burn and Chow. That he was the one. I thought, oh no, here we go. He's going to get another bag of hat trick and be the best player in the world. It was yes, so close, but yet so far in terms of where we are. We know the levels of what Man City are to where we are, and that's where we want to be, to not play well, but yet still win with minimal opportunities. But at the end of the day, it's I wasn't expecting a result. I was in hope of a result, but the performance, like the lads have said before me, is giving me a lot more hope moving forward that they can actually play in without a full strength side, like I said earlier, to where they can, those who, the stars of the team, the stalwarts, the first name on the team sheet, we can actually facilitate that and bring players in. Hats off to Jacob Ramsey, because I think he took his opportunity and I was quite critical of. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, to be perfectly honest. He's grown into it. Obviously, it takes a bit of time. It takes a bit of understanding the way that we want to play, in parentheses. But he's a very good footballer. He just needs, again, a run of games. Baltimore needs a run of games. He doesn't fit into sitting into a midfield five when we haven't got the ball. He just can't do it. To be honest, the lad can't do it. He needs to be in that middle space of a 10 to be free and play without the extra workload of playing in that midfield as a 5. So I think it's a disservice to him. And again, with Wissa thing, I don't know. He just looks knackered every time he walks on the pitch. He just looks genuinely tight. He just looks knackered. I don't know what he's eating. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't got a clue. That's a thing for Bunce and the performance, the high performance team to look at and see what's going on with him. But overall, it is what it is. We can't, dwell on the fact that we got beat 2-1 off Man City and we didn't. If we played poorly and got beat 6, then that's a different argument. That's a different problem. Now we've just got beat 2-1. It could have been a lot more for us. It could have been a completely different conversation and a completely different mindset going into which, and I agree with the lads, a big run of games, because we've got 4 at home, 5 at home.
Yeah,
Chelsea away, something like that, off the top of my head. So again, this is where we have to go on that run and pretty much go and beating Chelsea are beatable, all the above. Don't even. I mean, I watched the Sunderland game. Sorry for swearing. I watched them lot yesterday, and that was dire. It's dire. I mean, it's painful. Somehow they're where they are, but they've just went on hard work and kicking people. So yeah, let's go on a 5-6 game winning run and get moving up that division and get through the FA Cup quarterfinal or last 8, whatever it is. So why not? It's not all doom and gloom.
Yep, don't forget we're still in the Champions League as well.
Yes,
The
we are.
path's starting to look a bit clearer for that. So
A
fingers
nice
crossed we
£20
get.
million in there as well with that Champions League run.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Alan, coming to you.
Well, lads, we've got to be very proud of the performance on Saturday for being a mid-table team. I thought, it was really good. I thought Hall and Ramsey and Gordon were exceptional. I think Hall's one of the best left backs in the country.
Yeah.
To be honest, Steve, a bit 2-1. I thought Elanga's decision making in the second half when he could have laid off Gordon on one-on-one, he just hasn't got it for me. I hope he improves. He has in the last couple of weeks. Results have been canny. I thought, the Carabach game, even though we beat them 6-1, brilliant result, brilliant performance. But I hate to say it, lads, I was more deflated than ever. I was, because we're so far behind Man City, it's untrue. I felt gutted. I felt deflated, because if we think Willock and Asula and Elanga are going to get with top 4 next year, and all the lads have talked about positions we need, the defence needs stripping bare. We need, like a new keeper. We need at least one right back. We need, that game showed you, like Kevin says, I hate to say it, Isaac, we desperately need a top striker in the summer. But can we hold on to our new air players? Because, in the summer, the top players that we've got, they've already been linked with other teams. So that's me worry. Short term, we're actually only aiming for 7th. Is that good enough for the fans? Is it good enough next season, 7th position? That's what my big worry, lads. I had good news today, like on my tablet, saying the club are looking into the new stadium and training ground, but then they're going to make a decision at the end of 2026. So my heart sank on that. So there's still no decision about that. It's just 26 years since we beat Man City. It's 30 since we beat Liverpool away. It's 3 times against Man United in the last 56 years. We've got Arsenal and Chelsea, where we've never won in 14 years. And it's another season. We're not beating the big teams away from home. And as much as we can be proud of the performance, yes, on Saturday, it's still a defeat, lads. It's still a defeat. And you can sugarcoat it as much as you like. We're just a mid-table team at the minute. And it's going to take drastic action and some big summer signings, and keeping the signings we have to move on for next season. So actually, the positive I would take is we've got a good chance in the cup going forward. I give you a 20% chance, but I think I'll give you a 40% chance at home to beat Man City. But I think we've got to win the FA Cup, because don't forget, lads, this time next year, if we're in 10th position, the fans will want Eddie Howe gone. And that's my saddest thing of all. So there's a big, massive summer coming up. And I hope Bear Wilson and Eddie Howe get it right, because the fans won't put up with the mess there is. I agree with Ramsey. I think Chow's been a good signing. Ramsey's coming to the fore now. But Wissa, like Adam said, and Barry haven't made it at the minute. So the jury's out on them. Voldemort has proved good at times, and in the right position could make it. But you've got to look at the bigger picture, lads. It's another defeat. The 2 games coming on, Man United, Everton are average teams. I expect we to beat them both to have a chance of Europe. We're in a mini league with Brentford, Bournemouth, dare I say it, Sunderland, and Fulham for that 7th place, because the other top 6 teams are way and gone in the distance. So actually, I'm hoping and praying to put me up in the next couple of weeks, because I'm on the floor actually after that. More than I'm happy about the pride that they showed, but at the minute we're just a mid-table team. So I'm absolutely down on the floor. I hope the pick us up against Everton, but I'm not happy chappy. I hate losing, lads. I just hate losing. I don't want to lose, and we've got to accept where we are, the pecking order, like Kevin said. The quality of players we've got is nowhere near to challenge the Premier League. And it showed. That is Man City's B team. I could say a B team, but not one of the best teams that's won the league. They're struggling to hold on to Arsenal, and it'll be between them for the title. But I don't rate that Man City team in the same class as 2 or 3 years ago when they were fighting against Liverpool. So I'll leave it at that, Steve. But proud of the lads last couple of weeks, Steve. But long way to go to satisfy me, Steve, because I don't like being 11th in the league. No way. I'm not happy with that. Simple as that.
Okay, it's all about opinions, and Alan's opinion certainly in the minority tonight, amongst the chat as well. A lot of people saying that they don't understand it, but that's what it's all about. That's why the Fans Forum is a unique show on this platform. Okay, 2 games to look at, George. Carabach, of course, tomorrow night. 6-1 up on aggregate in this game. Lots of talk about players being played. Youngsters potentially having a run out. I think he'll probably go with. A solid 11, George, and then we might see a few youngsters once Newcastle score a goal or 2 tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think you're right. That my feeling was that they're getting closer and closer to getting a game. There's 2 or 3 of them he keeps including all the time, and some of them are getting good write-ups at every level they play at. What I was hoping he'd do, he'd probably field a strong team till we get 1 or 2 goals in front, and then start to give the youngsters more than 20 minutes to have a proper game of football into their lockers. And I've got to be honest and say that I'm so confident that of the 25 registered players, I think you could pick any 11. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't get a result against Carabach, especially the way the managers sort of playing down everything in such a dramatic way. So yeah, the Carabach game is one that, like you, I think he'll field a strong team till we get a couple of goals in front, and then give the likes of Neve and even Park on the left. And others, and the lad Murphy, who's been trailed around for 2 seasons as a substitute defender, he's entitled to get a game. He must be absolutely sick of warming his backside on the bench. And young Neve at centre forward, Christ, he's got a Carabao Cup winners medal and he hasn't played a game yet. So yeah, give these kids a chance and see what they're doing, what they're like. And then after that, what's the other game? Well, do you want?
I just want a prediction for Carabach from you, please, because we'll be speaking to you later in the week on the Amigos for the Everton game. Right. So yeah, just Carabach.
4-0 against Carabach. 4-0.
Okay, thank you, George. Martin, Carabach.
Yeah, I think George is right. Adam said it as well earlier on. I think he'll start strong enough, I think, and try and look to kind of put it to bed in the first kind of 30 minutes. I think the tie's pretty much done anyway, but I think he'll definitely start to bring the kids on. I wouldn't be surprised if he started with the young lad, the lad we brought in from South Korea, Su Sang, I think it is, or Sang Su. I wouldn't be surprised him to get a run out on the wing. I think he could possibly be a start. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'd like to see him get a run out. I think Neve will get a stint up front. I think he deserves a good run out. But I think he'll start off with a decent enough team, and then I think he'll blood a few of the young ones. I think he has to. He'd be foolish not to get some of the elder lads off the pitches and let them rest up for a week. Score, I'll go 3-0.
3-0 for that. And what about Everton, mate? Tough game, I think it's taken a few people by surprise when you look at the league table, exactly where Everton are.
Yeah, I think Everton's always one of those games. I mean, for Pickford, it's his cup final, isn't it? Beat the Mags. And I think the fact when it's at St James's, he's nearly always rattled. So I think we've got a good enough team to beat Everton and beat them convincingly. I think if he lets the younger lads play tomorrow night, and we get, Joe seems to be on his way back. Miley's a bit of a weird one. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Miley there for a dead leg. I know Kev might have a view on it, but it's an awful long time for when I know Kev talks in grades, but that's just his coach head coming on. So a dead leg, it's a long time. Like he's a good 10 games or so missing now. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
If he's got a problem behind it, they'll be worried.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird, George. I don't think we're being told the full story with it. That's for sure. But yeah, I think we've enough to beat Everton. We're at home. They've got enough to score past us, and depend. I'd like to see Ramsdale start rather than Pope. They'll be a threat in the air, but I think we'll have enough to combat that. I think we definitely have a better midfield, and we definitely have a better attacking force. So I'll go 2-1 Everton. 2-1 to us against Everton.
Thanks, mate. Adam.
Carabach, is what George and Martin have said. Start strong, give the lads a run out when needed. I think it's standard. I think that'll be an Eddie. It'll be one of Eddie's pre-planned substitutions. Bring the young ones on. I think 4-0 against Carabach, and then Everton. It's a David Moyes team. You don't know what you're going to get most of the time. What you can guarantee is that they're going to turn up and give it a go. I'm going to say 2-1 to Newcastle.
Okay, Barry.
I'm just so glad after reading in the chat that I'm not the only one who calls them carrier bag. Because to be honest, after the game last week, I would have taken it back to the shop and asked for me 40 pence back watching them. I was sitting listening to it thinking, am I hearing what they're calling them? And it's obviously not. It's I'm just living in I'm living in a Jeff world, I think, when I was watching that. I think there's no reason we couldn't do what happened away from home. I mean, I know they've had a couple of games in the Champions League where they've looked reasonable, but the way they played against us, if we can play with that pressure and that high attack that we had, it could be 5 or 6 now quite easily. Totally agree with the guys. I think the young'uns should get a run out. I don't know what Alex Murphy's done. I think he's parked in Eddie's parking spot, I think, in the car park, because I think there's some reason why he just won't pick him. And I would love to see Neve get a goal up front, because I think he's going to be there or thereabout, and I would like to get a chance to see whether he is going to be a one for the future or whether it's just going to be another squad player. I want to go 5-0, Steve, for carrier bag. I think I'm hoping we don't concede at home, because the goal we conceded away was absolutely abysmal, and I think it's spoilt the route. So I'm hoping we keep a clean sheet. And then for the old flappy hands, I think I'll go with the Penmen. I think we're going to beat them 3-1 at home. I'm hoping we'll destroy Everton, but I do think I agree with the lads that will concede against them.
Barry, just for clarity, when you say flappy hands, are you talking about Pope or are you talking about Pickford?
Pickford. I don't think Pope's got the reach to have flappy hands.
No, just for clarity for folks listening, that's all.
Tom?
Well, Steve, I think you had it pretty much. We'll start a stronger team, but I still think there's going to be 3 or 4 changes. Trips needs a rest. You need to sit him down. It frustrated me even last week. We're up 6-0 or I'm sorry, 5-0, and he's still on the pitch with 35-year-old legs playing 3 days a week is driving me nuts. So Trips needs a rest. I think he'll rest Tonali. I know he'll rest Pope, and probably Valdemata as well to put Joe Linton into the starting lineup. So I think there'll be changes, but we're still going to start a really strong squad. And at the half, maybe at the 55, 60-minute marks, we'll start seeing the young'uns come on. And I'm pretty excited about seeing them. I don't get a chance to see them very often in the under-21 matches, etc. So I'm excited about seeing them. And I think that this is the perfect time for them to do that. And can you imagine playing in a Champions League game at St. James Park? And that's how you're promoted to the senior squad. I think that would be incredibly amazing for some of those guys. So I'm excited for them as well. I think it's going to be a comfortable 3-1. I think once we start resting Byrne, because he needs a rest, and getting our back. Maybe we'll open up a little bit in the back. But being up 6-1, we know that they're going to have an open game. Our speed and our athleticism is going to tell the difference. So it's just a matter of if we score early, we're going to score a lot. If we just try to manage the game, which to me is the more sensible thing to do with our limited squad, then that will keep the score down a little bit. So 3-1 Tyne. 9-1 aggregate. 9-2 aggregate.
And Everton at the weekend.
Yeah, it's always tricky to play Everton. I really, I go every week. I hate a different team for different reasons. I don't like anybody.
I'm the same, Tom.
But Everton is one of those teams that I really do despise. And Gordon has been on a pretty good run. I think Gordon is going to have something to prove, make up for some missed moments in past matches. So I like us with a nice, comfortable 3-0.
Okay, Kev.
Well, I'll not even go to the Carabach because I think that's signed, sealed, delivered. I just wonder who's going to play centre half in that game because How's suspended. That's going to be the interesting thing. I think Murphy should be in there just for the run out. I agree with the Neve. I think he's the next up and coming talent that what the academy have produced, which is a very minimal amount that they produce, which is another conversation for another day. He'll be the one to probably even just play wide or playing some role across the front three just to give him minutes. I would go for it for the first 45 minutes in that game and then haul them all off and then put the young'uns on and give them a good 45 minutes in the Champions League for that experience at home. Every Geordie's dream, really, to be honest. So that game, not really concerned, but the Everton game, I just looked it up to where they win by a goal or a draw or it's a goal either way. It's a 2-1, 1-1, 1-0. So they're very difficult to break down. So I would have to, I'm going to sit and watch the Man United game and then I can probably give you a better analysis of it. But I would go 2-1. I think we'll beat Everton. I wouldn't think as comfortably as we did down there. I think it'll be 2-1, 1-0 here because I think it'll be very tight. The game tomorrow, I think it could be. You could put any number on it. It doesn't really matter. Just get us through to the next round and get more money in the pot from the Champions League. So yeah, I'll go 2-1 against Everton. Win.
Okay, Alan.
I think Carabach, I think it's right. There was a comment before, Steve, saying about, don't play too many youngsters because, let's be fair, lads, the general public paid good money for the game. So, you cannot just have a team of youngsters totally because people have paid £75 upwards of a ticket. So I do expect to pick a good team and then put all the youngsters, like Kevin said, and George and everybody in the chat on the second half. Neve deserves a run out. You've got to see if they're going to make it or not. And Everton game, I totally agree with Kevin. I was going to go with a penman, what Barry said, 3-1, but I think it's going to be really close. And I'm just, if it's 1-0, I'll be happy with 2. I'll go 2-0, Steve. But it's going to be hard because they've got if nothing else, Everton have got a very strong defence. But I'll go 2-0 to us because it's needed. 2-0.
Great stuff. Thank you for your time, lads. Get well soon, Pablo, by the way. It's another one who's missing tonight. I know he wasn't feeling too well, so hope you're well. And Magnus is busy in another film in Iceland. He's a bit of an actor, a bit of a thespian, so he's working today, which is good stuff. Thanks to Alan, to Kevin, to Tom, to Barry, to Adam, to Martin, to George.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody at home, and also thanks to all the moderators as well. Go on, Kev.
No, just say a prayer for my wife. She's got a lot of testing going on for a CFS leak from basically her brain through her nose, which is not healthy, and a lot of headaches and things like that. So she's got a full day of testing down the Mayo Clinic in Florida, which is one of the best hospitals in the country over here. So just send good thoughts to her because I'm not there, my kiddos aren't there, so it's one of them ones. So it's $14,000 to get it done. So
Good luck.
just say a small little prayer for you in that way inclined, or good thoughts. Send to her that way. Thank you.
Best
No
wishes,
worries.
mate.
We're all thinking of your Kev, mate.
No,
and I'm sure everybody in the chat is. Yeah, I'm sure everybody
Cheers,
in the
lads.
chat is as well. I'm back in the morning with a live Q&A around about 8:45. Take care. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to United Group Travel, our fanzine sponsor. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Deposits from £50 per person. A big thanks to Media Arts. Their website, www.media-arts.co.uk. Email info@media-arts.co.uk or telephone 0191 637 5061. If you want to help support the channel, then you can click the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. It is free. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your social media. A big thanks to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can listen to us on the road, on this network, or by tuning into iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can also join the channel by hitting the join button on YouTube or go to our website, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. You can pay a one-off fee of £25 and you'll receive a membership card, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a key ring, a badge, and a pen. £25, nufcmatters.co.uk.